Richard Boston was an English journalist and author, a rigorous dissenter and a belligerent pacifist, an anarchist, toper, raconteur, marathon runner, and practical joker. He described his pastimes as soothsaying, shelling peas and embroidery, and argued that Adam and Eve were the first anarchists. God gave them only one order and they promptly broke it. Early life. Richard Boston was born in London and brought up on a Kent farm. He was educated at Stowe School, Regent Street Polytechnic and King's College, Cambridge. During the early 1960s he taught abroad in Sweden, Sicily and Paris. In 1966, towards the end of his period in France, he worked as a film extra, acting as a long-shot stand-in for Jacques Tati in his film Playtime. Journalism. For more than 30 years Boston contributed to a range of newspapers, magazines and broadcast programs. Initially, staff jobs included Peace News, News Society and the Times Literary Supplement, and he became known for an oddball but passionate take on the passing scene. From 1972, Boston was a freelance columnist, features and editorial writer on The Guardian. Soon after starting, Boston, together with Michael McNair, came up the idea of a column about beer. Keg beers such as Watney's Red Barrel and IND Coupe Double Diamond were being pushed on the beer drinker with widespread distribution and high advertising budgets. These bland, sterile and gassy beers provided Aunt Sally's for his regular Saturday column in The Guardian, Boston on Beer, which started shortly after the launch of the campaign for Real Ale. Some regular readers might have been disappointed to hear that, despite all the talk of Real Ale, I have to say that, if ever I saw Richard in the village pub, he was usually drinking something stronger. In 1977 he founded the environmentalist magazine Vol. Quotes by Richard Boston on his candidature in the 1994 European elections. It's a big trough and I want to get my nose in it. On beer. Beer horrible stuff. Mine's a pink gin. Can't stand the stuff. On Watership Down when re-examining some well-known books. The Rabbits upheld the public school virtues of getting up early, having cold showers, and going on very long runs. On Adam and Eve, were the first anarchists. God gave them only one order and they promptly broke it. By others. John Falk, the painter. Above everything, I admired his moral courage in standing by his principles in everything he did. Alan Rusbridger, journalist. Richard Boston was incapable of being serious about anything for very long. His love of literary practical jokes and puns concealed both an acute and erudite mind and a personality given to prolonged periods of melancholy. And Boston. He was a free thinker, a true independent who tenaciously tracked his train of thought into unexpected territory, sometimes surprising himself as much as others. Bibliography. Works by Richard Boston, 1970. The Press We Deserve, edited by Richard Boston, London, Routledge and Amp. K. Paul, ISBN 0-7100-68212, 1974. An Anatomy of Laughter, London, Collins, ISBN 0-2160048, 1975. Ed. and Introduction to The Admirable Urquhart, Selected Writings, London, Gordon Fraser Gallery, ISBN 0-900406-402, 1976. Beer and Skittles, London, Collins, ISBN 0-2160668, 1977. Baldness Be My Friend, London, Elm Tree Books. ISBN 0-24189732-7, 1977. Foreword to Little Boxes, a selection of Brian McAllister cartoons from The Guardian, London, Guardian Newspapers, ISBN 0-85265-0248. 1979. The Little Green Book, edited by Richard Boston, Richard Home and Richard North, London, Wildwood House, ISBN 0-70450381-6. 1982. The C.O. Jones Compendium of Practical Jokes, London, Enigma Books, ISBN 0-7278-3003-1-C. 1983. Foreword to the Belchers, a strip cartoon from Vol magazine 1977-81, by Brian Reading, Blandford, ISBN 0-71371387-9, C. 1985. Ed. The Busman's Prayer. Reading, Foss and Amp. Hodge, 1986. Introduction to With an Eye to the Future by Osbert Lancaster, London, Century. ISBN 0-7126-94676. 1987. Contribution to A Decade of Anarchy, Ed Colin Ward, London, Freedom Press, ISBN 0-90038437-9. 1989. Osbert, A Portrait of Osbert Lancaster, London, Collins, ISBN 0-02163241. 1994. Voodoo Saved from Drowning, London, BFI Publishing, ISBN 0-85170-467-0. 1995. Essay in the Raven, No. 30, New Life to the Land, London, Freedom Press, 1997. Starkness at Noon, Nottingham, Five Leaves Publications, ISBN 0-907123-32-5. 2003. Essay in A Country Diary, Clifford Harper, by Clifford Harper, Agraphia Press, ISBN 1-904596-002.